Welcome to another installment of The Lowdown, where we're here to discuss Deadpool Wolverine. We have waited 6 years since Deadpool 2 for this to come to fruition.
And we really never thought a Deadpool and Wolverine movie was even going to happen after the great farewell that they gave him and Logan. And even he himself, Hugh Jackman, said that he was done with the character. And now here we are.
Because think about it, how long has Hugh Jackman been playing Wolverine?
Since before I was born.
60 years. So it was rightfully so. And they did the Logan movie. They sent him off right. And of course, Ryan Reynolds is just now trying to take off with it and establish the Deadpool trilogy or whatever we got going on. And since day one, since the first movie, he's been taking shots at Wolverine or whatever. So it just was only fitting.
You can tell he really wanted this movie to happen. And after Logan, it kind of looked like that was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, I don't know what they offered him to get him back.
And here's the deal: the writers, they came up with something. They kind of put him in the same spot. And I'm pretty sure contractually, Wolverine being over here as a mutant with, like, there's probably was something going on with that where it probably couldn't happen. You think?
Definitely with Fox.
Yes.
They probably would have messed it up.
So it's Fox, and who else is it?
And now it's Disney.
Fox and Disney going head to head. They finally came to an agreement, and here we are. So let's get down into it, and let's talk about what we think about this movie. Was it fantastic? Was it the summer blockbuster? We about to dig into it. We about to dig deep. Stay tuned. So getting into it, what do you rate this movie?
Probably give it like calm 8.
Calm 8. Calm 8.
A low 8.
Low 8. A low. What's a low 8? 7.
Just 8.
Just an 8. All right. For the blockbuster, what we've been waiting for 6 years, it comes out and it's an 8.
It was definitely exciting. It checked off on all of the things that I thought it was going to be. But me trying to be a real harsh judge and a real movie critic, as a movie as a whole, it was an 8. My enjoyment was a 10 out of 10.
But your enjoyment, okay, that's nice. I like that. Your enjoyment was a 10 out of 10, but just as a movie, it was an 8.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm glad you just brought that up, because now I can kind of go back and think about my feelings. My enjoyment, it might be a 9.5, but as a movie, I'm 7-ish, real 7-ish, because there was a lot of things. There was a lot of
not the movie I thought it was going to be.
It is not the movie that I thought it was going to be.
Not in a necessarily a bad way, because it's not like they butchered it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just they threw a lot of curveballs in. By the way, this is spoilers. It's been 2 weeks if you haven't seen it yet.
2 weeks. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay, so now we start of the movie. We see Deadpool is in his universe, and he's kicking it. Not doing the best, because somewhere between Deadpool 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, a lot has changed in his life. He's not with Vanessa anymore. And just as a person, he's really trying to find his purpose in life. So we see he's working with Peter at I think a car dealership during this time, and he's just trying to find everything in his power to find out like what his purpose is. And that to him is trying to be a hero. Now, with all that being said, do you have an opinion on how drastically his views have changed and the world has changed since Deadpool 2?
I definitely have. Since Deadpool 2, since Deadpool 1. Deadpool 1, he meets Vanessa, and that's the girl of his dreams, and all of a sudden he has this cancer and it's life altering or whatever. He doesn't know how to talk to her about his cancer. He's like, I just got in a rural and I'm about to leave. So he goes off, but he just kind of stares at her from afar, make sure that she's safe. So it's all about Vanessa.
It's a love story.
It's like
he tries to say.
It's a love story. Part 2, the love is there. They can come through anything. She's been kidnapped, they're in love or whatever, and now she dies in 2, and he brings her back at the end of the movie, and then we start Deadpool Wolverine 3, and they're not in a relationship. Everything about 1 and 2 says that these guys are the perfect couple. They are a match made in heaven. What happened? And it's never explained as to why. what in the world
They
has
gave us
happened?
a little flashback, but
What was a flashback?
when he was like, I can't remember what he said. That's how insignificant it is.
Insignificant it was.
They didn't help
Those two should doggone die together. But we start all three that they're in this platonic. We can still cope and be around each other. No kids or anything, but they just can still hang around each other. But they're not in a relationship. Nah, that life don't work like that, dog. If we ain't in a relationship and we're trying to move on, then we're moving on. The fact that they just keep keeping them in the same vicinity and just being awkward the whole movie, that that needs to be
also
explained.
Another big change is Deadpool's ideology. He goes from not wanting to be a hero. He calls them lame A teacher's pets in the first movie, and still he kind of gives in the second one with the X-Men trainee thing, but he never really becomes one. And in this movie, after whatever character development him and Vanessa went through, which would be fine if they elaborated upon it, but they never do. He just has this need to be a hero
because he's trying to get her back.
We don't know. They don't. It's not really.
It's not really said.
So his first two movies kind of feels like they don't matter because now he's dead set on being a superhero.
And and again, the epiphany, the light bulb goes off. The midlife crisis. I'm been useless forever.
It feels like they kind of throw it in the back seat to kind of focus on him and Wolverine's relationship. But they can't change a character that much and then introduce a new one. And then
you can't change him within the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the movie. And so again, you're watching it and you're like, hold on, what am I watching right now? What's going on? Where are you guys taking me? I'm here for it, but make this. It's make like sense.
I was so happy and smiling in the movie theater, but then after I was like, man, I just don't understand a lot of the decisions he was making.
Yes. That was a reasonable way to connect them with the timeline and the variants and all of that. But that's where we go wrong with a Deadpool movie. Deadpool, this is way out of your lane in terms of time travel and saving the world. And the world and everything being dependent on you. That's where I got lost in terms of this is what the premise of what, like, I didn't know anything going into this movie except those two were going to be together. Didn't know the plot. I knew about Xavier's sister, but I did not know that the world was dependent on these two.
I don't mind that, but you are right. The Deadpool's comics alone are very grounded and they're realistic and they're what you're expecting. But it's just with all the politics and with Marvel and Fox, this is kind of the only way that they can really get them to come over to Marvel and actually make an impact. It has to be multiversal stuff because they haven't been mentioned in the past 20 years. They're not in the same universe. They can't just. With the first two Deadpools, it was grounded because it was his own thing.
Yes.
But it's not his own thing anymore.
Why is it not his own thing anymore?
Because they want to be in Marvel. They're all trying to join up now.
They could have came. So you're telling me there was no other story to come up with to combine everyone?
Honestly, I didn't think they did it that bad. The TVA showing up and saying the universe is slow. It lost its soul being or whatever.
Yes.
I don't think that was bad.
Okay, it's not bad. But if it's Tony Stark that needs to figure this out,
but he didn't really
Thor that needs to figure it out. But though. If it's Deadpool that we got to come to
kind of the figure out of the movie, though. He's outmatched, and they didn't come to him to figure something out. It was just like, man, you're an important person in the universe that's collapsing. We're gonna save you.
So I don't know if I'm jumping the gun for some things that we're going to discuss later, but here's what's on my mind. In the movie, Ryan Reynolds refers to himself as what? Marvel Jesus. I think the Marvel Jesus has just taken it to where it's like we can't do any wrong. We can give you whatever we want to give you. and we can give you cameo. We can do whatever we want to. Doesn't even have to be a well thought out movie. As long as we're able to provide you with characters from this contract and I can get them all in the same movie, you guys will enjoy it because I am the only person that can pull this off. Whether it makes for a good movie or not good movie, cameos is really what sold this movie because it was not the TVA, it was not the going back in time. It was the cameos that we were waiting on or didn't know we knew some cameos were coming. But after a while watching the movie, that's all it was just waiting on cameos.
Okay. So then after he's kidnapped from his party, he gets a revelation that his universe is dying.
Yes.
From the TVA.
Uh-huh.
And insert all the cameos that you were talking about. After he's gonna try and find a way to save the universe, which is another thing that you don't like. You don't think it's grounded, and he's trying to save the world. Yes. But it is what it is. So we go through. He steals a TVA machine, and he goes through trying to search for all types of different Wolverines. Mm-hmm. What did you think about those cameos? There's Patch. There's Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Old Man Logan Wolverine. Henry Cavill as Wolverine. Did you have a problem with any of those?
A lot of people got excited about the Henry Cavill Wolverine.
I was very excited.
I wasn't. And I can talk about that a little later. Again, I wasn't until I saw the end of the movie. Him trying to save the world, and in this early on looking for a super team. I didn't have a problem with that. So so as a fan, remember we talked about the actual movie and the fan part. My fan part was a 9.5. I enjoyed seeing Patch. I enjoyed seeing who else did I see?
You say you didn't like Henry Cavill. You got to see him as Old Man Logan.
I liked Old Man Logan. I like Patch. I like
Age of Apocalypse Wolverine.
Yes.
The comic accurate height when he stood up.
Yes.
He's like 5'3".
And he was 5'3". So those things were funny. We're early in the movie. So a lot of jokes are and a lot of real life references, or not real life, but the comic book references, they were there. They were on point as to who he was looking for. So I was with you, but I still don't know what we're looking for and how this movie is going to end. So at this point, I am still all in. I'm loving. But the Henry Cavill, I get it, and you love that.
Yeah.
I guess I can talk about it right now. Or maybe I shouldn't. I'll say.
The memorable one was him in his iconic brown and yellow suit, and he faces Mark Ruffalo's the Hulk.
Yeah,
that was another good cameo. But after all of these jumps through, he finally finds a Wolverine that doesn't try and kill him instantly.
Yes.
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, the worst Wolverine.
The worst one, the one that just really is like there's nothing. he really self-esteem is low, and he's just really just navigating through the world, on his own.
Just drinking.
Yes.
He's terrible. Yeah. So Deadpool doesn't actually convince him to come with him. He passes out drunk. And he brings him back to the TVA. And he's like, man, this Wolverine can save my universe, right? And I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
But honestly, that might be the best part of it, because that Wolverine there that was in such a low point is a guy that you can bring out of something and give them meaning. So I guess just sitting here talking with you now, I guess I don't have a problem with this version of Wolverine just because he has lost everything. So even though he wants to continue losing it, just anybody give him any kind of little pep talk about him being able to do some good in the world, I could see him being persuaded more than you got a Patch who's already, ruthless and,
it is top. I feel like it's a good comeback story.
It was a good comeback story.
Well, just saying.
Okay. So out the gate, introduction credits. We got Deadpool sitting out from where Logan passed away, and he's thinking that he's about to resurrect.
He's like, that's not how a healing factor works.
That's not how a healing factor works. And we got him have to battle the TVA.
That have chased him after he digs up his corpse.
I
And it's
did.
like, yeah, you're super dead.
And we got this famous the NSYNC dance. What you thought about that?
I thought that was very Deadpool. I thought it was funny. Again, no matter what, he's gonna try and make fun of Wolverine, literally
Yes.
using his bones as weapons to kill people. Some people I feel like weren't super happy with that because it kind of like made a mockery out of his death. But it's like it's a Deadpool movie,
It's a Deadpool movie.
and his death has happened. We were sad. It's whatever. I am.
And for me, we was very, at the beginning, right now, with it only being 10, 15 minutes, we are on par for a typical Deadpool movie that no matter if it's typical or not, and if it's the same thing, we are here for it.
We're on pace.
We're on pace. We're on brand, and we're here for it.
Now, let me ask you this. You put me on to his last movie having James Bond-esque intro. Which intro did you like more, the NSYNC or the James Bond intro?
The James Bond.
Okay.
It's more nostalgic.
Okay.
It's super creative. Like the dance, it was. He just took their routine and did it, as opposed to when we're looking at Deadpool 2, and then you take a flash dance and things like that. But it seemed to me to be a much more creative in terms of putting together that credit scene.
In the Void, where the first major kind of fighting that happens in the movie is Deadpool and Wolverine's first fight. What did you think about them? What did you think about that?
First fight?
Yeah.
If it's the first fight, then it's the first fight. So, I mean, it takes
Besides him killing the TVA people.
Yeah, so it's their first fight. So now it's, we get a chance to see two people with healing factors go against each other. We know that there's not going to be a winner and there's not going to be a loser.
Just fighting just to fight.
They're fighting just to fight. They're little big brother, little brother. Who's the big brother?
I don't really think it's like that.
You don't think it's a big brother? They definitely got this sibling thing type going on relationship, although it's the beginning of the movie or this their first time.
I don't think. Really I think Logan just truly doesn't really like him right now.
Okay.
And he doesn't know where he's at, so it's just like, let's just fight. First person I see.
But they're fighting and they're throwing blows, but you can tell that it's.
I think it's just from Deadpool's end. It's like that. I'm not sure if Wolverine is coming.
The intent doesn't seem like it's very. It seems like they both know. Wolverine knows he can't hurt him. Deadpool knows he can't hurt him, but that doesn't stop us from fighting.
Well, not hurt him. They feel all of the stuff. They just know they can't kill each other.
No, they can't kill each other. So it was cool to see for the first time. After the 15th.
Then after they're done fighting, we got our first, I think, pretty major cameo. Chris Evans comes back as we think Captain America.
Come back as Cap,
but he says Flame on.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious. I give him props for that. It was definitely taken by surprise. Was not expecting that. I definitely was expecting to hear Avengers Assemble.
Thought it was Cap the whole time. Even when I saw his sleeve, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Captain America back!"
We brought him back. We're doing the time variant. We done brought him back. We done went back. We done found Steve Rogers. He is definitely about to add something to this team of significance. And why, if it's a Deadpool that is saving the universe, there needs to be a Cap that's going to be in this movie that ensures that the world is saved. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
they didn't get that,
and we did get that. Now,
but it was pretty funny.
All of a sudden, it went, dang, that ain't Cap, but funny nonetheless.
And he ends up losing that fight as the other X-Men from the original X-Men trilogy come up. We get a very short Sabretooth and Wolverine fight. It's very anticlimactic when he just beheads them in one strike, and then they proceed to get captured.
So to talk about the Sabretooth and things like that, that just brings me back to what this movie was about. It's about a lot of cameos, and we're losing characters. Like these people are dying and it's just for the sake of saying that they're in the movie. And if they're, well, I guess if
But
you
I don't
can
think they would
die,
have been
we can
very.
figure out a way to bring them back.
I don't think they
which
would have
is-
been very significant, anyways. Though a lot of people that do die.
Well, if they ain't significant in the first place, who cares if they die? So what's the point of
It was
bringing them?
just to
What's the
see a
point of bringing
familiar
them back?
face.
Yeah,
Do you
familiar face,
not,
familiar face of this story.
would you have not found more joy, right? If it was okay, a normal guy that you have no idea who it is, he beheads or Sabretooth. I found more joy I've seen Sabretooth because they were gonna be no, and it didn't matter if it was Sabretooth or anyone else. He wasn't. None of these people really are gonna have an effect on the film besides Deadpool, Wolverine, Cassandra Nova, and a few others. But they're just kind of filler characters. So I feel like you're thinking way too deep into it. Chris Evans, dude, he was a filler character.
But he didn't have to be. But
What do you mean?
I mean, Chris Evans could have been Cap.
No, it's
He could've
Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep.
Which I got a lot of Deadpool and Wolverine in this movie, and that actually was a thing for me as well. I got tired of looking at them together.
Well, it sucks to suck.
Yeah,
I was expecting them to be together the whole time. And that's what
I needed them cats to split up at some point and just do
It's
their
Deadpool
thing
and
and
Wolverine.
do their thing. It was just a long. I don't even. Am I jumping?
Nah.
All right. Yeah, it's just a long movie of them together and bickering, and
you found that annoying? You didn't like that?
after a while, as anything, I just keep poking you.
But they weren't fighting the whole movie though.
Hey, if I tickle you for or whatever, if I poke you, it's cool. But if I just do it for 30 minutes, you're gonna get annoyed, and you're gonna like, all right, stop. So that's what it just felt like. It just like, all right, y'all can't die. Y'all gonna keep fighting.
They only fought twice.
They fought twice, but they were so long, and even so, if you fought twice, the first one you already know, so why fight again? And it just kept going, and I was cool with it. Like, I didn't need to see how they could destroy each other, attemptedly, but not actually succeed with it. It just was. It just got. It was drawn out.
And then after they're captured, we are introduced to the main villain, Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra Nova.
What did you think about Cassandra Nova and her performance?
Cassandra Nova, again with this, and we're gonna keep talking about it. Cassandra Nova was the villain, just like in the Marvels, they had a villain. But this villain has such a insignificant part in what we're just watching the whole time. Love and Thunder with Gore. Yeah, there's a villain, but it's so much of, again,
I don't know,
Wolverine and
I don't
Deadpool doing their thing. And what was
I don't feel the same.
She had a reason.
She did have a reason.
It just wasn't a good reason. It was.
I think so.
It was just a good enough. It was a good enough reason because it was her reason.
Not every character is gonna have some super deep backstory.
Yeah.
She is the complete opposite of Charles Xavier. She's everything about him that is wrong.
Yes.
And she said that they let her just live and rule the void just because that's just what they wanted her to do. But she's just like, I don't want there to be anything but the void. That's her goal of the movie. And I think no matter the screen time, I think her performance as a villain was pretty good. And when she was on screen, didn't feel dull. It didn't feel boring. I felt scared. She was intimidated. She was evil. So the fact that you just compare her to the Marvel's villain, I can't believe you just said that. Because I don't remember the Marvel's villain. I'm gonna remember Cassandra Nova.
You don't remember,
especially the body horror of when she reads people's minds. She has a scene like that. She tries to psychologically touch Logan. I feel like she just made way more of an impact on the movie than you're giving her credit for.
Oh, well, maybe. Again, so I still probably thinking about the plot of the entire movie. It still just feels like this movie is just going nowhere. It's like, let's just try to put some stuff together. And as a villain, I mean, she did what she could.
But she did. After we get an introduction to all these characters, liked or hated, we begin what we kind of think is going to be the final battle scene, with the objective of getting out of the void.
Uh-huh.
I drive up in the car. I thought it was a pretty good fight scene.
Okay.
I know you weren't the biggest fan, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. After that, we get after all of those character introductions, we try to segue into what we think is going to be the final battle of the movie. They all get in the car and drive over to Cassandra Nova's hideout with the objective of Logan and Deadpool making it out of the void, trying to save their universe. That Logan has kind of come to be like, he doesn't really know if he is going to save it, but they're still going to try. I feel like it was a pretty good fight scene. All the characters get to show off their skills. Gambit shows off. Blaze. Everybody has their own little moment to do something, and then X-23 brutally takes out Juggernaut and uses his helmet on Cassandra Nova, and they're able to lead a void.
Can we talk about this Juggernaut for a hot second?
What's wrong with him?
Why is Juggernaut so skinny?
Because he wasn't CGI.
Okay,
It's a real person.
So we got this big budget.
Why are we spending money on someone that's going to get killed in 2 seconds?
Okay,
There's no point.
Nah, if you're Marvel Jesus and you're gonna have Juggernaut, make him look right.
It was super nitpicky if you say that.
Well, hey, that's what we're here for.
I guess so. The fight scene was good. We have a little bit more revealed about Wolverine when she reaches into his head, and we see how he's dealing with failing all of his X-Men, and it's interrupted, of course, when Deadpool manages to put the helmet on her, and they make a deal to get out of the void, and everyone else makes a noble sacrifice and is killed by a lion, and that's kind of the end of their story.
So going back to this Juggernaut, I heard that because of the Juggernaut of the original X-Men series, because they had already messed up, they just tried to stay on par with that character. Although they did not use the original character, they just tried to stay with that Juggernaut. And it was just purely based on, well, let's not try to fix what's, I don't know, that's interesting. Let's not fix what's broken. Seemed to have been the approach.
After they escape the void, they follow Mr. Paradox to Deadpool's universe, trying to stop him from pruning and destroying the whole universe. And we get another fight scene that was unexpected, with all of the Deadpool variants following them into the portal and trying to kill them. A lot of people don't like that because it's just, again, more people with healing factors, fighting more people with healing factors, and I feel like there's no stakes, and it's just kind of pointless. How do you feel about that?
Just throw blood out there. So Mr. Paradox, did he bring?
Yes, I believe so.
He brought them.
What did you think about?
Was it actually explained why they were there and saw how you got 50 Deadpools that are in a line with one common goal and just one Deadpool, or maybe two?
I'm not sure.
Exactly. But it made for a great fight scene. It was exciting because we got to see handsome cowboy head, baby.
Lady Deadpool is actually played by his wife. Randall's wife. How did you feel when Wolverine put his mask on for the first time?
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me.
I honestly feel the same way. Everyone was super crazy about it. I didn't care for him.
It didn't look good.
I didn't think it looked good either.
It didn't look good. And I mean, and the thing is, because they had been doing so many wow factors and so many cameos, and he has the yellow suit on, I know it has to come at some time. So the fact that it didn't catch, it wasn't a surprise when he put it on. So when he put it on, I was like, oh, finally. Like, I've been waiting for you to put that on. And then once he put it on and I looked at it, I was like, yeah.
So yeah,
I was done. By the time he put his mask on, I was done with the movie anyway.
Okay. So I get through all of that. Cassandra Nova is then able to strike a deal with Pyro in order to understand what that Mr. Paradox was actually her wasn't with her at all. He was against her, and she follows them through and tries to absorb the machine to prune everything but the void. And then we get Wolverine. Well, both of them attempted to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and it ends up they stop her and nobody dies, which was kind of. I honestly thought Wolverine. I thought it was a small chance one of them might have died.
I didn't. You want to know why I know one of them died? Because I saw Guardians of the Galaxy.
What does that mean?
Remember in part 1 when they had the stone?
Oh, okay. Hold my hand. Okay.
Hold my hand.
And when you hold hands, I guess you just can't die.
When you hold hands, you can't die. You got a friendship for each other. There it is. So as soon as they start, I say, gee, where's Marvel Jesus? Can you come up with a better concept than what I've already seen? Oh, I'm about to die by myself, but if you grab my hand together, we can all go and get through it. So, didn't think he was going to die. I've seen
that wasn't a super crazy scene to me. I thought it was valiant that Deadpool decided to take the bullet for him, but he ends up breaking through, and they both save him. Anyways, that's kind of. I feel like I was happy with that, not because of that scene itself, but just to show that from now on, Deadpool and Wolverine, like the bickering and stuff, is gonna stop. That kind of ended their conflict ended a long time ago. But I'm just glad that they joined up, and it was nice to see.
Okay.
Of course, after that, Mr. Paradox gets his comeuppance, and we get another cameo from the TVA agent from the Loki series.
Who?
I can't remember her name.
Oh, the black lady.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
We get another cameo from an agent from the Loki series.
B-15.
Yep, Agent B-15. It's a very short cameo, but it's just happy to see someone from another source of media. Cassandra Nova dies after they overpower her in a machine, and they're kind of left with, man, what is Logan gonna do? He originally is like, I'm gonna go and be a lone wolf, but he realized last time that happened, all of his friends died. So he decides to stay with Deadpool, and I feel like we get a really nice ending to a movie that you might not enjoy.
I enjoyed the movie. I said
okay, but you didn't think it was the best movie, and I ended up saying the same thing about another movie that's just like it. No Way Home.
No Way Home.
They kind of feel the same.
No Way Home feels like this?
Yeah. A lot of cameos, a lot of fan service, but as a movie, what happened? What did it bring to me?
No Way Home definitely had a lot more of a plot and a meaningful plot to it.
I think that is what Deadpool is lacking, a plot.
It lacks a plot. And the thing is, honestly, the writing was bad for where you could go with Doctor Strange based off of what was set up with No Way Home. My problem with Deadpool Wolverine is Ryan Reynolds is talking about he's the Marvel Jesus, and what I was looking for, what we have been lacking since Endgame, is a movie to come along and it's going to propel us to the future. This movie here is a standalone, even though they use parts of all of our past with the variants and things that we already know about. This movie does not send us and propel us to the future for future movies.
I don't know if you heard this. Kevin Feige said on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of impact on the MCU, he said Endgame was a 10, Infinity War was a 9. He said Deadpool Wolverine is an 8.
Oh, somebody paid him to say that.
Well, technically, he paid him. He's trying to fill his own pocket.
He's trying to fill him. Yeah, definitely not an 8. This movie does not do anything.
It's a lot of cameos and all that, but
and that's all it is. It's just cameos.
No connection really to the MCU at all.
No. So what Ryan Reynolds did this time, and what the writers did, is they stepped away from 1 and 2 having real meaning and having us have us feeling sorrowful. And they said, we're going to make a movie.
Not saying there was no heartfelt moments in this.
I missed them because it was so much of the other stuff going on. It was so many cameos. It was so many things that we were supposed to just get excited about, that where it said, forget the story and let's just focus on, I can call Jennifer Gardner up as Elektra. I can get Blade. I can get a new Channing Tatum. I can get Chris Evans out of retirement to actually play Johnny Storm. I can just get all of these people, and I can make all of these over the top jokes about Fox, Disney, and
but those jokes were expected, but it was lacking the key story elements.
And for your viewers, if you guys do not have a Marvel encyclopedia, or if you're just not having just keeping up since day one about the history of how Marvel was split up, he's going to hit you with a lot of jokes that people around you might laugh and might find funny because they know they're all inside jokes. You're not going to be able to laugh at everything. And there are a ton of these jokes in this movie that where you're just going to have to know what's going on for it to mean something for you and to find the humor in it. So,
with all that being said, very fun theater experience. We're a bit iffy on the movie itself. A lot of plot holes, a lot of stuff that's kind of making me question it as a movie itself. And there was a lot of flaws, but all in all, I feel like after that, I'm positive about how I felt about it. Wasn't as impactful as they said it was going to be, but as a standalone type of thing, I didn't think it was that bad.
Definitely. Standalone movie. Great. Get your family out. You guys want to have a good time. You know, anything about the characters, you're going to love to see all the reveals, which I guess we done told you.
Yeah, definitely. If you watch this video, you know what's going to happen.
You know what's going to happen, and hate for the spoilers. So this also is going to be for, you know, the fans that we're 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in. So hopefully you have seen it by now. But again, this is us wrapping up the lowdown. Stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe.
Have any other different opinions from me and him? Comment. We would love to hear.
We would love to hear from you. So stay tuned. Up next, we're going to be discussing RDJ coming back to the MCU as Dr. Doom. Stay tuned as to what I got to, man. That's all I'm going to say. Just stay tuned and be on the lookout for that video.
That's the lowdown.
The lowdown.